And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at progressive.com or 1-800-Progressive, because it probably can be. Canty, it's not good for Ja Morant. I don't think an entire year suspension
Well, yeah,
is
when you
off
make
the
the
table.
commissioner look like a fool, and when you say that you have a level of contrition and you understand the gravity of what you did and how it impacts others adversely, you'd like to not do the same exact thing weeks later, right? I mean, it was an 8-game suspension. I'm with Jay. I thought Silver should have been way more heavy-handed than he was with the initial discipline, but because he wasn't, he opened the door for Ja Morant to do this again and get caught on social media with this again. He didn't learn from his previous mistake. It didn't curb the behavior in terms of the punishment that
on Ja Morant. I thought there was a bigger message that I thought the NBA was going to send. But I've known Adam Silver for a long time. He's a Duke grad, and he's always been a player-centric like commissioner. Whether it was the way he handled Donald Sterling, whether it was the way he handled Robert Server, he's always been on the player side. And there's a tendency for me to believe that Adam would go out of his way in a series of conversations to make sure that both Ja and his team recognize the importance of Ja cleaning up this type of behavior, especially for somebody that could be the face of our league one day. And to me, that was Adam Silver saying, no longer am I going to enable or take part of enabling this process. There's nothing more I could really do than to tell the world, like, this is going to be a severe punishment. We are going to wait. And to me, that's Adam Silver sending a message to Ja Morant that this is serious now. And me trying to help you, you're going to need to help yourself. Turn the ball over a ton. Your transition defense looked great. The reality is that you missed a lot of open looks. Now, you can make the case that due to the physicality of the game and the altitude, that takes away your legs. And I think there is a couple of days of adjustments that they can make. But I still feel okay if I'm Miami. I think my biggest takeaway, Colin, was the fact that I don't believe that Miami would have enough defense to stop the power of Denver's offense. But I do believe that the Miami offense has the ability to negate Denver's offense if they're able to knock down shots from the outside. This comes down to, can Miami have a prolific three-point shooting spree, and can they make shots in the perimeter? Because they're going to get looks just due to personnel and how physical this game is going to be in their spacing. So can they knock down looks when it matters the most? We'll find out on Sunday.
Jay, this morning you talked about the Denver Nuggets front line size versus the Miami Heat, and you said it looked like a JV going up against a varsity in high school. Can you expound on that and the impact that the Nuggets size had in Game 1 against the Miami Heat?
CC, this is something like people, look, when you go down and you stand on the field of
about a quarter of the season, I think that's something that everybody would have anticipated. Nobody would bat an eyelash. That wouldn't be something that would overshadow the NBA Finals. But because Adam Silver came out yesterday and said that he didn't want to bring it to a head until after the finals out of fairness to the teams and the players that are participating in the finals, that leads to me to believe that it's going to be a much more significant suspension. And like you said, I don't know that an indefinite suspension, taking him off the court for a year, is off the table.
One other thing that I've heard lately, and I don't want to make too big a thing of it, but it bothers me, the argument that Ja didn't do anything illegal. Hey, first of all, in Denver, he did. And secondly, for those who believe that, that's fine. But what he did do was violate rules for the company that he works for and for the images that they are trying to project. So no matter what that is, nobody is saying that Ja can't ever work again. It's just, for a while, you're not going to work here because these are our rules.
Yeah, it's a private entity. It's a private business. And the question is, are you good for business? Right now, Ja Morant's not good for business. Think about this. Nike has a signature shoe.
But you never really feel that watching it from the TV perspective. Me understanding how big and how physical the Denver Nuggets team actually is, knowing that Aaron Gordon is 6 and Michael Porter Jr. is 6'11", knowing that KCP is 6'4.5", 6'5", with a 6'8" wingspan. Bruce Brown, 6'4", with a 6'9" wingspan. I've seen it. You witness it. So when you look at guys who are smaller, the likes of Gabe Vincent, and if Tyler Hero is able to come back at 6'3.5", and Max Strus, who is 6'3.5", they're going to look tiny. And one of the things that Miami was able to do starting their small lineup, they were able to exchange everything, switch everything. And Denver paid attention to that. So when Gabe Vincent finds himself on Aaron Gordon, you saw what Denver did last night. They're going to throw the ball down low. You know, when they switch off a pick and roll with Jamal next to Bam, to try to use him in those spurt-like minutes in Game 2 before potentially, Game 3.
Assists, joining the likes of duos like Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, or James Worthy and Magic Johnson, in terms of what we've seen in the postseason in the NBA Finals. Just how good is this duo when you look at it from the perspective of the all-time best duos in NBA history?
I mean, look, I think Jokic is one of the most special players the game of basketball has ever seen. I said it today on our show. I think when you think about transformative players, and obviously LeBron is in that category, but Steph, right, changing the geometry of the game. And then I've been trying to tell people, I know Joel Embiid, people are saying he's more deserving of the MVP, but I'm like, he's not the same caliber of big that Jokic is. Jokic is the best offensive weapon in the league. He makes everybody better. So, and Jamal Murray, when it's all said and done in this year, he'll be a top 15 player in the league. It's going to be hard for you not to rank him top 15. And the impact that Jokic has on the game.
Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU, joining Canty and Carlin. Jay, when you look at Tyler Hero in this situation, if you're the Miami Heat, the point has been made throughout that they may be in a better defensive position through the playoffs without him on the floor. So how do you balance what the benefits are of returning Tyler Hero versus that?
In Game 2, I'm using him in limited minutes, and those limited minutes are filled in with spurt minutes, right? I'm telling him before the game, I need you to be a high-energy guy. I need you to be a bucket getter. I treat him a little bit like, I'm not saying his game is similar nor the style, because Jamal Crawford's style is very, very different, but their abilities as in to create energy and give us offensive explosion. I think this is sometimes a Heat team where it becomes a little bit difficult if shots aren't being knocked down from the outside. And really the only two players guard-wise Gabe Vincent is a point triple-double, CC, right? He controlled 3/4 of the game without scoring, and that's what makes him elite. So I think the passing ability, the IQ, also – we joke around with this sometimes as a guard. When do you ever see bigs lead huddles? And I'm just not talking from a talking perspective. I'm talking from, like, breaking down a play. Give me the clipboard. I'm going to draw a play. Like, Jokic in his prime is drawing plays for Michael Malone on the sideline. We saw that in the last series. So the IQ is LeBron James-like, with a style of play that is unorthodox in today's uber elite athleticism of the game. His athleticism is hand-eye coordination and footwork, which is superior to anybody else in the game of basketball right now.
Jay, Adam Silver yesterday, having a press conference before the final, I think announced a mini bomb into what might be
in terms of the timing
for Ja Morant that they.
Jay, have an awesome weekend.